So if you're someone who steps up on the scales and you see a number that you don't want to see, and it sets you off in a negative spiral from there, it might cause you to eat more food later that day, to say, feck it, I'll just give the gym a miss now because all my work is undone because I'm up in weight. Or even if it causes you to binge. Like, seeing a fucking number on a scale should not predetermine what your mindset is going to be like for the rest of the day. And we see this with a lot of our clients that have come from a dieting history in the past where fundamentally they're not getting results and they see weight fluctuations each week. And all that you might be missing is a simple bit of education behind that, because look at the fundamentals here. If you're in a caloric deficit, you will drop body fat. Factors like how much of a deficit you're in, whether you're resistance training or not, and how active you are across the week will all come into play in terms of how much weight you can look to lose each week. And that depends on how much body fat levels you have as well. Like, the higher your body fat levels, i.e. the more weight you have, the more you can expect to see in the scales, versus somebody who's a lot leaner and who has less weight to lose. They're going to see smaller weight drops each week. But there's this funny thing called weight fluctuations. Just because I step on the scales, if I step on the scales now fully clothed, I'm going to weigh a certain amount. If I take off all my fucking clothes and step on the scales, I'm going to be less. If I go to the jacks before I step on the scales, I'm going to be less. That is what we mean by water fluctuations. Your weight fluctuates anywhere from 1 to 4 pounds on any given day, based on, for ladies, time of the month, water you did or did not drink the day before, carbohydrates you ate the day before, how much you ate the day before, how late you ate the day before, what your sleep was like, what your stress was like, if there's any kind of life events going on. All these factors can play a role in what your weight fluctuates day to day. That does not mean that you gained a pound overnight just because you're a pound heavier than you were the day previous. Look at it like this. The only possible way that you can gain a pound of fat overnight or after a weekend, for example, is if you overate across the whole week by 3,500 calories. If at the end of the week you've eaten a surplus of 3,500 calories on top of your diet that requires you to maintain weight, you would have gained a pound. When most people are in fat loss, they're not eating maintenance calories, they're in a calorie deficit. In order for them then to actually gain a pound, they'd have to bring their calorie deficit into like a maintenance level and go beyond that by 3,500 calories across the week, because there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. If you want to put that into a simple scenario, that's like saying you ate 2 large Domino's pizzas last night. Like, if you didn't eat 2 large Domino's pizzas last night, it's probably just a fucking water fluctuation. So, if you're winning 1 day a week and it's constantly fluctuating up and down that given day, you're better off taking your average across the week. That's why we encourage clients to do weigh-ins at least 3 times a week, so they can see the weekly average of that. Because if they come to us and they weigh in at the end of a week, if they weigh in during the day versus during the morning, if they weigh in after food or before food, all these factors are going to throw it off anyway. So we get them to do it 3 times a week, first thing in the morning, straight after the toilet. But again, remember, all our clients are guaranteed to be in a deficit, because we're coaching them with that every day. They're resistance training as a bare minimum of 3 times a week, and they're highly active outside that as well. We can guarantee them to get those results. But above all, just know this. Just because the scales is up on any given day, it does not mean you've gained fat overnight. It does not mean that you have to fucking go loose and throw in the towel. It does not mean that you have to go wild and eat all around you and say scrap it to the gym just because your weight is up on the scales. It just means your water has fluctuated for that day. If over a 2-week period or even a 3-week period and you're still not down overall, you're probably not in a deficit, and you probably need to look at that in a little bit deeper to get help with that, so you can be in a deficit, so you can drop body fat. Hopefully it helps.